Hey guys, it's Malvo here once again. At the end of a whole patch note reading segment, I'm 10 hours after a stream and I am pretty cooked. Bottle of wine and all that. But wanted to get a quick video reaction and quick takes about the new league coming up because it's pretty fucking huge. Yeah, I want to make sure you get my feelings for it and a bit of an overview. And with that, we'll just like jump into what it kind of looks like as we're going with it. Um, yeah, it's kind of bigger than what any of us could have expected. It feels like the second biggest announcement since Act 5 to 10. But we'll have to wait and see how it actually feels, how it goes down and all that. But Act 5 to 10, that was like when we were all like, "Holy shit, what's this?" This feels like a similar sort of league and announcement because once again they are trying to change the game. Once again they are trying to bring some serious next level shit to ARPGs, and that is in the form of Settlers of Catan. Catan? What is this shit? Kalguur. Settlers of Kalguur, with some, base building, sort of micromanaging, macromanaging bullshit that lets you control your base. And yeah, it's some crazy shit. There's a lot that goes into this patch. There's a lot that goes into this league. And for me, basically, one of the biggest things looks like auto botting, like making your own legalized botting system. A lot of people will absolutely be most excited about the currency exchange market. That thing was actually pretty huge as a reveal. So instead of like having to whisper a whole bunch of people just to exchange your currency, ideally at this point you're going to be posting your shit, someone else is going to be posting looking for your shit, and you're just going to exchange your currency shit at a whim's notice, and that is going to potentially be extremely insane. And I think, like Jonathan said, it's something like a stock market. It's going to be something like playing a stock market and just a huge economic thing. If it goes down the way it goes down, I expect some people to be richer than ever before through this type of league situation, and it is going to be kind of crazy. But for the rest of us, it's going to be a bit of a quality of lifestyle thing that is a long time coming, and if it works out, should be just super comfortable for the league. But for me, as I was saying, one of the main things is through the league mechanic, like a legalized version of botting, which has your a few workers and stuff run maps for you, and then you collect stuff at the end of those maps once they're done, like the next day. And I'll go over that in a sec, but that's probably the thing I'm most excited for. Otherwise, huge melee rebalance. Let's just say pretty much every melee skill got twice as much damage. Fuck 5% increased damage, that means nothing at this point. We got like twice as much damage for almost everything. Now those are things, as well as this rune system also looks like a huge like contingency of power creep. As you can see, there's a lot of extra shit that you're basically going to be able to just craft on top of an item, not replacing anything, just bonus huge power creep. And we've already seen some pretty crazy modifiers, so there's that. A lot of quality of life, a lot of big stuff, just a lot of big things in general. Yes, absolutely. A huge scope of patch expansion, and yeah, there's a lot to go over. But I'm just going to go over some things and try and build the hype from my end, because this feels like a whole new game to me. Like, my voice is already kind of dying because I've been streaming for 10, 11 hours, talking nonstop and drinking a lot. But this feels like it's going to be a whole new game to discover, largely because of the league mechanic, because it's something we haven't really experienced before, something that feels like is going to be a lot of discovery and learning as you level. Like, it's almost certainly going to be a 12 to 20 hour campaign run for me personally, where I'm going to experiment and interact with this league mechanic a lot, and just see what it does, and build a base and interact with various time mechanics and shit. And that's what's going to make it feel very largely like a whole new game. Because every few levels you're going to go back to your little base thing and check out what's progressed, what you need to do, what's been given as a reward, and it's going to feel pretty crazy. On top of that, the whole melee rework, almost everything's got like double damage. I think a lot of people are going to start with like melee skills, and that's going to make the game feel pretty fresh and alive in a different way. And then a few ascendancy reworks. We got Gladiator getting a pretty big rework, and that one looks like a pretty, you know, Zoomer language, pretty big W. Same with the Warden, looks like a pretty big W. That both of them are looking like good reworks. Like they've got their own flavor to them, and they've got their own bonuses and stuff. So with the league mechanic, you know, harness resources. So, you know, it's going to incorporate itself throughout your maps. You're going to do certain things, kill certain things, and get certain resources, and then come back to your base and interact with it as well. So it does look pretty ambitious, because it's a very different thing to come into an ARPG. But if it works out well, and if they balance it well enough in the first couple of weeks, then we'll get very rewarded for our time, and it should feel pretty damn worth it. But it'll just feel different. And like I said, you're going to have these like workers for different stations, for different sorts of things. Some of them are going to be something a bit different. So, you know, like sending out a ship, and then it like does some trade routes, and given what you've put in, what you get out, you get certain rewards from it. And sometimes it'll be good, sometimes it'll be mediocre, but it's different. Some of it will be pretty familiar, and what I'm more excited about, the mapping thing. So, you know, you already know how to run maps, right? You already know what mapping is, but you're going to be able to hire workers, and you're going to be able to get maps for them, and then you're going to queue up maps for them. They're going to have a certain time queue for all that. If you make them succeed well enough, it's basically legalized botting. I'm so excited for that, because back in the days of D2, almost all of us had a Pindle bot that would run overnight. And then you'd check in the morning, and it was like fucking unwrapping a Christmas present, seeing what you got, because Pindle bots were cool. You'd be like, oh shit, what did I get? Did I get the rune I wanted or whatever? And this feels like this is what it's going to be. You can target it with certain maps, you can put it to certain areas, and it's going to clear for you and then show up with loot. If you get it set up well enough and it runs well enough, you might just be waking up to like an apothecary one day. This feels like it's going to be a pretty big thing for people that, you know, sometimes have to miss a day or two of gaming, but can still catch up because of this, or miss, you know, half a day, or have to work all day and then come back and see what they got and hopefully catch up. Hopefully this is what it's like, and that's the impact it has on it, because that would be super freaking cool. So that's what I'm most excited for. We've then got, the trade routes. We've got a whole bunch of new uniques, some ward rebalance. This unique, for example, looks really crazy for ward. I definitely want to look into making some shit with evasion and ward based off some of this. We've got runes. These runes are going to be resources that you use to make some of these more powerful crafts. I don't know if that's in these links. No, it's not. But it's down here, I think, actually. Yeah, this shit. Runesmithing. This looks like absolute game changers for what you can do with builds and what you might think of doing with builds. So like I said, pure power creep. This is stuff that's going to go on top of your item that just gives a whole bunch of extra modifiers. Stuff like trigger socketed fire spell on hit, 0.25 second cooldown. So fire Mjolnir you can attach to axes. That's fucking crazy. And that makes you think of all kinds of stuff. And you can craft on top of it. I don't even know, man. This is too insane. We've got a lot that we can do with this stuff, and it's just going to change the scope of the game for this entire league, I think. For at least, probably a good month or two. You're just going to be non-stop going, what do I do here? What do I do there? How do I min-max this thing? And what build should I play next? I'm just pretty damn excited. Hopefully that comes across well enough. And then, a lot of people really looking forward to this currency trade market thing. It's not something I've been, desperate for, but it certainly, if it goes down well, will be a huge quality of life in getting and selling currencies that, either I don't want or either I need. So that's going to be, it's a big question mark, because it's something they're testing. If it doesn't work out well, if it has real bad ramifications, they're going to pull it for the next league. But if it works well enough, that's just the future of PoE, and an absolute saving grace for what a lot of people think is one of the game's current biggest shortcomings, trade and currency trade in particular. So there's big stuff there, big, reworks for some various defense mechanics and also lots of cool new uniques. The Gladiator itself, if we want to talk about that real quick, we press it here. What happens is basically Gladiator got still some of its bleed identity, but it's got some other cool identity too. So the longer a boss fight takes or longer an enemy takes to kill, the more powerful you get against it. 100 seconds go past. In some Uber encounters, that's going to be pretty damn quick. You're going to end up dealing double damage to that enemy. Very strong and notable. Block is back in a big way. Dual wield block is pretty back, and then lucky block here. And there's much more block on the passive tree, so it should be pretty easy to cap your block and then even get more block. Retaliation skills are like a new form of counterattacks, but bigger, better, and hopefully way more fun, way more potent. And then of course some bleed stuff, and then more powerful bleed stuff, and then something that looks really cool. Varanastra is currently really good. This is going to make Varanastra potentially even much larger. There's a lot of good stuff that goes into that. Possibly the most notable one being a lot of extra instant leech while wielding a claw, so basically Valpact. And then Raider itself got reworked. Tinctures got put back in. They're reworked to some extent. I don't know if I'm fully sold on what this concept is like. It inflicts mana burn. It's got some cooldown. It's not exactly what Tinctures were like before, but it is something, and there is lots of synergy that goes with it. It could end up being huge, but the Warden, which is the new Raider, has a real flavor to it that's very elemental, very attack-based elementalist as far as I can tell. This Scorch node looks insane. The Shock node looks absolutely insane. The Unbound thing, I'm not too sure on that. It's kind of more of a situational buff, but it might end up feeling really cool. Have some big burst damage after 10 seconds of wind up, something like that. And then more Tincture synergy. Ranged Tinctures, because currently they were introducing them as a melee thing. And then Bark Skin, I really don't know about that one. That one looks kind of scuffed to me, at least personally, but we'll see. And then they're introducing new item bases and reworking some item bases, so much more armor, evasion, energy shield on stuff. Wand's got attack speed and crit buffs. Stuff like this Ventor's here has now reservations, so I think this is going to be a pretty big chase item. We find lots of Ventors just by playing the game, and if you find a high roll Ventors, it's going to be one of the absolute premium items in the game by the looks of it, because that mana reserve shit can go pretty damn Super Saiyan. Lots of endgame improvements. We got Blight doing a lot better. We got tier 16s and 17s. You're going to come across various mechanics, so Affliction, Sentinel. You're going to be able to find Audience with the King, which is the King of the Mists, and that's going to still have a jewel that's now the Parandus jewel instead of that which was taken. Chisels no longer do what they used to do. Instead, they're going to do specialized things, so you can buy and sell chisels as you need, as you don't want, need, etc. And they're going to do specialized things, so map enhancing, for rarity, quality, for fucking div cards, for some other stuff, pack size. A lot of scarabs got rebalanced. The supporter packs look really cool. In particular, I do think the Paladin set looks pretty cool, and some of the meme shit it does is very cool. It's nothing crazy. You don't have to go wild over the supporter packs. It's just, more supporter packs. Kind of cool. It's mostly the game itself that is just going in a huge direction all of a sudden. Like this, from Necropolis, where we felt a little bit, kind of a cool mechanic, some cool stuff, to this, where we're just like, fuck, thank God we play Path of Exile. Yeah, that's basically the feeling. Especially, don't want to fire too many shots after watching the D4 announcement. Compared to this, right? Like, we're pretty glad we're in the category we're currently in. So with that, I will probably just have a quick look at the patch notes for you guys as well. We just then covered all of the patch notes, and it was hefty. We are talking what they said, biggest patch notes ever, 33,000 words, 30,000 words, something like that. Covered all of them. Look, there's a lot of changes. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But stuff that most notably needs to be talked about is probably the melee improvements. Skill gems balanced in general, like there was mostly melee improvements. Like spells and stuff got nerfed on the low end a bit, and then regular by the time they leveled up. But skill gems, it's mostly just melee gems getting about twice as much damage because they removed the War Chief and the Protector Totem. So to compensate for that, your melee gameplay now just feels much more smooth. You run in, you hit stuff. You don't really have to press totems or do any buffs like that. To compensate for that, though, for the totems, for the damage, the power they had, they basically gave you double as much damage on all melee skills. If you currently play melee and know plenty of these melee skills, you know that damage isn't too much of a problem. It's just a bit of, getting to that stage where everything feels good. This is going to be pretty insane. I honestly think melee builds are going to be fucking cracked this league. On the high end, once you're really up and running, you are going to have some disgusting damage. You're going to have some deletion of bosses and some pretty feels good gameplay. So you did lose Protector attack speed, but that's only on bosses. And some people did say, you gained a lot of damage, but what about attack speed? It's the same thing. If you gain like twice as much damage, you can afford to take less damage elsewhere and then gain a lot more attack speed. So if you really want to fill out your attack speed, you can do that at the cost of damage without feeling as bad these days. And that is part of the power of having twice as much damage everywhere. I don't know if there's anything particularly necessary to note because everything kind of got like twice as much. Double strike and fucking all kinds of slams. Frostblades are looking pretty cool. Glacial Hammer I thought was insane. It currently does some pretty good damage. It now goes from 269 at its high end to 622. What is that? So pretty much everything did lose its flat damage. Previously, most things had some flat fizz, flat cold, flat lightning, flat fire. All of that was pretty much gone, and now it's just got much bigger numbers. So it's more up to you getting that damage source, but once you've got that damage source, the scaling can go to potato levels. So yeah, really crazy stuff at the high end of PoE at this point, but I am much more just interested in what the league mechanic looks like, because that looks just new, different, and potentially really game-changingly fun. As far as other things are concerned, I think I've pretty much covered everything that needs huge covering. Jug and Champion did not get too many wins out of this one. They lost a couple things. I'm actually not sure what the fuck happened to Champion at all. Like, it more or less got nerfed and just does not feel good. That seemed like a bit of a misstep. Instead, like, everyone's going to be playing Gladiators because it feels way better, but Champion got a bit of a nerf. So there are some weird things, like Jug didn't do great here. I don't think it's dead, but it didn't do great. So there were some, for sure, little missteps that felt a bit weird. But overall, like, it's just going to be a whole new game. Embrace it. It's change, and it's change for the better. And we're going to figure out a new meta. We're going to figure out what feels good, what feels worth playing, and especially what league mechanics with the buffs and especially with the new league mechanic are worth doing. I think that's all I'll say for now because I am tired and there is a lot to cover and I feel like I covered just about enough to get the message across. I've probably never been more excited for a PoE league just because this one feels a bit outside the box while having real potential. There's been a lot that have been outside the box that I thought were probably not going to hit the mark. This one is pretty outside the box, and I think it has supreme potential to hit a lot of marks, especially with some rebalancing if it needs it within the first week or two. So give it time to be balanced. Give it time to actually just exist, and with all the stuff coming. And hopefully this is one we can settle in for a good few months because I'm currently, feeling good to being a PoE main. So yeah, this is Captain Jack Sparrow, boat league. Not really a huge boat league, but kind of a boat league. Captain Jack Sparrow signing off. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys next time.